Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a new video. Today I wanted to talk about all of the games that I played and beat for 2024. So basically doing a little recap and discussing all the games that I had played and beat. Now there's more games that I played this year than I beat, so I won't be sharing those, but I have 24 titles that I did play and I was able to beat, and so those are the ones I'm going to share with you guys. Now I'm not going to share any gameplay footage of any of these games, as I'd make the video too long, and I won't go as in depth with each game like I do in my weekly gaming playlist series. But if you guys want to see any of these games, I did share them in at least one or two episodes of my weekly gaming playlist series throughout the year for 2024. You can go back and watch one of those episodes where I'll share gameplay footage, and then I go into more depth about my thoughts on these games. It's just kind of just a little review and just share a little bit about the games, but I'm not going to go in super detail just because there's so many games here to share. But I have had a lot of fun this year. It's definitely been the year of the Xbox, as I played a lot of original Xbox games, a lot of Xbox 360, a lot of Xbox One and Series X games this year. So got 4 generations of Xbox, and pretty much this was a big year of me playing Xbox, and I've had a lot of fun with it. Now, one of my biggest goals that I've had since 2019, so we're talking going on 6 years for this goal, has been to play and enjoy more games from my collection. I do love collecting, and it's been fun, but it's even more fun to play these games. I mean, that's the whole reason we buy these games, is to actually play and enjoy them, and that's what I encourage you guys to do. Make sure you set some time aside to actually play these games. You don't want to get caught up in just buying and buying and collecting and buying and never actually playing these games. You're missing out on so much if you don't actually play the games and enjoy the stories that these developers have created for us. So I wanted to just do this little recap, starting off from the beginning of the year in January and then going through, ending with December. So first up game I've got here is the very first game I played this year in the very beginning of January. Now it's a game that I have played on the PS4, and then I played it on the Xbox Series X, and that is a game called Stray, which I've had a lot of fun with this game. I beat it on PS4 twice, and then I beat it once here on the Xbox Series X. It's a really fun game. It's a really mellow game, a real chill game. It's not super serious game. There's no violence or anything in the game, but I really did enjoy this game because you play as this little orange stray cat. Now this game takes place far in the future, doesn't really give you a year or anything, but it's in a post-apocalyptic future. So humanity has been forced to go into these giant walled-in cities around the world because of war and disease, and that the earth has just been polluted, and so they all had to retreat into these walled-in cities. Well, you play as a stray cat who's actually living outside of the cities, and obviously you can see that the earth is starting to heal itself, and that the dangers out there aren't as bad, at least the parts where you are near the city, because they don't let you explore really anywhere past being above the city. But you live with a family of stray cats, and you accidentally fall down into this city, and now you have to work your way out of the city to reunite with your family. Now along the way you meet this little companion, little tiny flying robot called B12, and he's able to communicate with you, and he joins you on your journey to help you escape the city. And then there's obviously more to the story, which I don't want to ruin any story for you guys, because a lot of these games, playing through and enjoying the story is what the game is meant for, and this is one of those games. But as you're playing through, you eventually encounter these robot companions that humans built to help keep them company, and they actually started taking on the traits of humans, where they start wearing clothes, they start forming families, they're able to start feeling emotions where they love and they get upset about stuff, and they basically start living as if they are humans, but there are no humans around. And so as a stray cat, you're trying to unravel the mystery of what happened to this city. There are also these little enemy Zerk creatures which can feed on metal, and they also feed on organic life, which are the only enemies in the game that you have to avoid. But eventually you unlock a little UV light weapon, because they're highly sensitive to UV light, and that's how you can destroy them. And so those are the enemies in the game. And then you run around and do a lot of puzzles where you got to solve stuff, and you get to do things that cats do, which is cool. Like you can scratch on the floor, and you can use your paws and knock things on the floor, and you can interact with the robots. And B12 is actually able to talk for you, and you go through the story, and there's some little side things you can do. And then there's also the Sentinel machines that humans had created, which are basically like a security force. Well, you also have to watch out for those as well. And there's also security robots and stuff that are trying to keep law and order that you have to avoid in the game. But I really enjoyed the game, had a lot of fun with it. I beat it, like I said, 3 times. It's definitely a game I'd recommend that you check out if you like a game that's really chill and relaxed and just has a really good story. And it was just had a great ending. And it just was really cool going through the story. So highly recommend Stray. I had a lot of fun playing through and beating that. Next one here is a game that I actually picked up because one of my buddies here, Pick Your Battles Collecting, he actually had talked about this. Hey, this looked kind of cool. I picked it up, and I don't know if he ever played it, but it looked pretty cool. I checked out some videos, and I decided to pick up and add to my collection, and I really had fun with it. And that was a game called Under the Waves. It's a really cool game. It takes place underwater, so you have this little submarine vehicle that you use, and you're able to traverse going through the ocean, and you go through a story. Now, this story is all about playing this guy, Stanley. It talks about loss, which I don't want to get too into detail into the story, but it deals with a tragedy that he had in his life and him coming to terms with it. And he decided to work for this company out in the deep ocean, deep sea stuff to kind of get away from the pain and stuff of his past. And he actually has to confront that while he's here in the world. And he ends up finding out, about what it is working for this company and what they're doing to the ocean and dealing with like pollution and stuff. And I had found out that actually a company that deals with cleaning up the ocean actually helped fund and promoted this game. But I had a lot of fun with it. It's a really awesome game. There's no like combat. You're not killing anything in this game. This is a very story driven game, and there's actually 2 different endings. There's a good ending and a bad ending. It really just determines like how you feel which one is which. But I really enjoyed the story. It kept me engaged, and I had a lot of fun with this. There's also some side missions you can do in it, and besides doing the main story. But I did 100% of everything in this game, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a really awesome story, a really fun game that's a third person, there's some puzzles and stuff for you to solve, and you just get to explore this beautiful ocean and see all kinds of different creatures, and you want a really awesome story, I recommend playing Under the Waves. I had an absolute blast with it, and I definitely could see myself playing through it again just for the story in the future. But I definitely recommend Under the Waves. An awesome game. I do appreciate Let's Pick Your Battles Collecting. I really appreciate you, dude, sharing this game, because it got me to pick it up, and I really enjoyed it. So that was awesome. Now we'll move on to an Xbox 360 title, and this is one that I picked up in the beginning of January, and I'm really glad. My buddy Dean from Escape to Gaming told me, like, hey, this game's got delisted. I would pick up a copy now if you want to get one before the prices skyrocket. And I'm glad I did, because they did fly up. But that was Spec Ops The Line, which this is an awesome third-person shooter with cover mechanics, kind of like Gears of War. I really enjoyed the story. It was really dark. It talks about, like, in all these kind of games, you always play the hero, and it's all about saving the world, and then at the end of the game, you're a hero. Well, in this game, it makes you kind of think, are you a hero? Are there heroes in war? What are the consequences of war and killing? And so I really enjoyed this story. It had some twists and turns in the story. You play as a squad of 3. Your special forces. You've been sent to Dubai, which was completely taken out to a huge sandstorm, and it killed all these people there. But you're hearing about there's still people alive there, and you're sent there to investigate what happened to the American forces that were there and the people they were trying to evacuate, and that's where the story takes place. Like I said, I don't want to ruin any story for you, But I really enjoyed the story, and it had a great ending, which was actually a couple different endings based on your choices that you make throughout the story, which was really cool. So I'll just read you a little bit from the back. So, intense and unique war shooter. It's been 6 months since Dubai was wiped off the map by a cataclysmic sandstorm. Thousands of lives were lost, including those of American soldiers sent to evacuate the city. Today, the city lies buried under sand, and the world's most opulent ruin. Now a mysterious radio signal is picked up from Dubai, and a Delta recon team is sent to infiltrate the city. Their mission is simple: locate survivors and radio for evac. Obviously, it doesn't go that simple, and you run through a lot of enemies, and you're able to use like the backgrounds and stuff. Sometimes you can shoot out like a window that's full of sand and it'll take out enemies for you, or maybe there's enemies above you on a glass platform. If you shoot it out, they fall through. So it's really cool. You're able to use the environment to your advantage. Huge variety of weapons. But I really enjoyed this game, as it really makes you think about playing these kind of games. Is, are you sure that you're a hero, and what are the consequences of war? And I really enjoyed it. It was a wonderful story. Definitely you guys should check out Spec Ops The Line. Next up, another game for 360 here is another first-person shooter. This was recommended to me by several people, and I'm glad I finally played it. And that was a game called Syndicate, which you can also play this in 4-player. This takes place in a cyberpunk future where you're fighting off against this evil corporation. These different syndicate people that work for a corporation, and then there are people who aren't really part of it that kind of live in the underworld of not having the technology like that you have. And it just goes through a story of dealing with corporation and evil people and stuff like that. But I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a great game, great story. Definitely one I could see myself playing through and beating again. So if you like first-person shooters and you like stuff set in the future and you like having powers where you're augmented with stuff that you can upgrade as you play through, definitely check out Syndicate. It's also backwards compatible on the Series X, so that's what I've been playing on. So any of the games that I shared with you today, most of them are backwards compatible on the modern console, so you get a boost of frame rate and everything. Really enjoyable game. Highly recommend Syndicate. I had a lot of fun with it. I love first-person shooters, and it was really cool being able to play through a futuristic city and corporation and stuff. It was a really enjoyable game. Really enjoyed that one. Next up, now we have an original Xbox game, and I beat it this year after not playing and beating it for many years, and that was Max Payne, which this is backwards compatible on the Xbox One and Series X. I played it on my Series X, and you get a huge boost to the visuals. It gets upgraded, the performance gets upgraded, load times, everything was improved in this game. I love the Max Payne series. Really awesome game. So you play as Max Payne. Max Payne is a man with nothing to lose in the violent, cold urban night, a fugitive undercover cop framed for murder and now hunted by cops and the mob. Max is a man with his back against the wall, fighting a battle he cannot hope to win. Prepare for a new breed of deep action game. Prepare for pain. I have always loved the Max Payne series. It's a really awesome game. Rockstar did an amazing job with this series. You play as Max. His family gets brutally murdered, and he gets framed for it. And now you have to fight through the underworld, staying ahead of your cop allies and the mob to uncover the truth behind it and try to get his name cleared. And it's really awesome. The health system is a silhouette of Max, and as he takes damage, it actually fills up with red. And how he heals himself is by using pain pills to heal him, which I thought is really good because a lot of people use pain pills to help numb the pain, both physically and mentally. And you get to go through the dark underworld of New York City and play the game as Max. And I really enjoyed the story. It was really fun to go back after all these years and play through this really gritty story. It was awesome because this game is one of the first games to introduce like a bullet and slow down time, where Max is able to slow down time and you can aim your gun to do bullets, and you have different bullet times where he's able to dodge stuff. It was really cool and really added to the gameplay, and I had a lot of fun. Highly recommend you guys play this one. Play it all the way through so you can experience the amazing story of original Max Payne. I love this game. It was awesome, and I love that it's backwards compatible. Next one we played here, another original Xbox game, is Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. So I wanted to play the sequel So this one is a film noir love story. His life in ruins, Max Payne finds himself back on the NYPD. During a routine murder investigation, he runs into Mona Sachs, a woman he thought dead, a femme fatale murder suspect. She holds the keys to the questions that haunt him, but nothing is simple in the dark and tragic night of New York City. An army of underworld thugs stands between Max and the answers he seeks. His journey deeper into his own personal hell continues. So what's really awesome is this continues the story in Max Payne 1, continues here to Max Payne 2. The game definitely improved a lot over the first one as far as the visuals got upgraded. They changed the character of Max Payne because Sam Lake was the model for Max in the first game, and they decided to get a professional person for Max going forward, so his character model does look a little different. They improved the gameplay, the story, the bullet time, everything really improved from the first Max Payne. It got even grittier and crazier and even more twists and turns in the story, and it was a fantastic game that I love beating. Also backwards compatible, so you get a boost to the graphics. One moment, guys. I think the mailman is here. Alright guys, sorry for that interruption. It was the mailman dropping off some Christmas presents. But I really enjoyed Max Payne 2. They, like I said, they had really improved stuff from the first Max Payne game. And the game is longer and grittier. And I had an absolute blast with it. Another one that I definitely recommend you play. But make sure you play Max Payne 1 before you go on to Max Payne 2. Now the next one here, I couldn't find my copy of it. I don't know where I put it. It's here somewhere in the game room. I'll have to find it. But I also played and beat Max Payne 3, which I really enjoyed. Max Payne 3. That's actually my favorite of the Max Payne trilogy, was Max Payne 3, because it was made for the Xbox 360. It was on 2 discs, and it was such an amazing game. They went into even more detail. The graphics got improved. It is also backwards compatible on Xbox One and Series X, so I played on the Series X, got a huge boost to it. And it deals with Max no longer as a cop, but he's down in South America and dealing with drug cartels and scummy people. And basically his life is kind of falling apart, and he's been big into drinking and painkillers and stuff, and he needs money and stuff, and so he decides to go to South America to live down there, and he gets himself into a civil war down there and dealing with drug cartels and all kinds of evil people and doing like security for different people, and he just gets himself stuck into a violent world, which is, you know, kind of tragic for Max, but that's basically what his world is. And he just ends up going on a rampage. So you have all the classic slowdown, but you have introduced a bunch of new weapons, and then you also get to interact with the police force down there who are trying to take down some people, and you're able to help them out as well. And it just goes through a really awesome story, a lot of great moments. I really loved my time with Max Payne 3. It's definitely one I want to go through and beat again, as I really enjoyed it. Another one that I highly recommend you guys play is Max Payne 3. Definitely recommend play Max Payne 1, then go through 2, and then finally go through 3. All 3 of them tell the whole story of Max Payne as one huge narrative, and you definitely don't want to miss any part of it. You don't want to miss 1 or 2 and just jump into 3. It's all the stories are tied together overall for the character of Max, and you want to play from the first game all the way through the 3rd game. I really enjoyed that trilogy this year, and I'm so glad that I was able to finally beat Max Payne 3, because I had played it a couple different times over the years, but I never actually went through and beat it. So I decided to start all the way over from the beginning, you know, because I had forgot some of the story, played from the beginning all the way through the end, and I really enjoyed my time with it, and highly recommend that Max Payne trilogy. Amazing. And you can play all 3 of them on the Xbox One or Series X with updated boosts to the visual, graphics, and performance. Wonderful series. Next up here is one that was recommended to me by several people, and I've owned it for a long time, and it's gone up kind of in price, but I'm really glad I finally played and beat it this year. And it actually just recently got a remastered version for modern consoles. That's called Shadows of the Damned. I really enjoyed this game. It's a twisted action thriller from the Nightmare team of Suda51 and Shinji Mikami and Akira Yamaoka, who does the music for the Silent Hill series, so you'll know his music in this. You play as Garcia Hotspur, has killed one too many demons and pissed off the Lord of the Underworld. Now he's about to take one hell of a trip to rescue his kidnapped love in the City of the Damned. So his girlfriend gets kidnapped, and you have to go to the underworld because you're a demon slayer and you have to fight off demons. This game is really brutal and violent. There's also nudity in this, naked women and stuff in some parts, so that's why I had to watch out when I was sharing gameplay that I didn't share any of that, because obviously YouTube wouldn't enjoy that. But it's a really awesome, enjoyable game that I had a lot of fun. It's a third-person shooter. Really fun, though. I had a lot of blast with this game. There's also some 2D side-scrolling like shooter parts where you run into in the world, because it's just crazy being in a demon world. So, you know, you're not in Earth, or you're not in the normal world, so any crazy shit can happen with demons and stuff in this demon world, and they have control of it. And there's an element dealing with darkness and lights where you have to stay in the light, because as darkness you start losing your health, and demons are protected in the darkness, so you got to get them out into the light, which they don't like. And that's you're able to kill them with your big weapon that he has called Johnson, which, you know, is basically like trying to say like, oh, hey, is it like a penis or something, you know, just playing on those kind of things. There's a lot of humor in the game, and it just was a really enjoyable experience. It's another one of those games that I know I want to play and beat again in the future, because I had a lot of fun with it. Some collectibles to find, really enjoyable. I do have to warn you though that towards the end, one of the final bosses is kind of glitched, and it took me like 45 minutes to beat it, because when you're fighting him, something's supposed to happen to him. Well, because of the glitch that they never actually fixed, it sometimes just gets stuck and just keeps repeating and repeating, and you have to just keep battling him and get to a certain part so you can continue the battle, because it broke up into like sections. And that was one thing I ran into, and I looked up online. A lot of people said, yeah, you run into this issue. Sometimes you might have to restart the fight, and you really just have to be quick and hope to get lucky. So that's one thing that really sucked. Hopefully they fix that issue in the remastered versions. But other than that little issue with the glitch, which not everybody encounters, but a lot of people did, I really enjoyed playing through this game. A lot of humor in it. It's just great. You know, there's a lot of toilet and potty humor and stuff in it, and it just was great and really enjoyable experience. I had a lot of fun with it, and I definitely will be playing Shadows of the Damned again. Awesome game. Highly recommend that one. And like I said, being backwards compatible, I was able to play to my Series X, so I got a boost to the visual and the graphics. Awesome game. Next up, we have another third-person shooter, and this is Binary Domain, which I had a lot of fun with this one. This is another one that was recommended by you guys, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to play it. And this takes place in the future. It's 2080 AD Tokyo, Japan. The Amada Corporation breaks Geneva Code Clause 21 by creating humanoid robots that believe themselves to be human. So it kind of feels like Terminator with, you know, you have machines that are disguised as humans. Well, these ones think that they are human and don't even realize they're robots until they get activated by this corporation to do evil things to attack humans, because they do have robots that are security forces, but everybody knows that they're robots. They're not hidden, and that was against the law in this world, is not having hidden robots. And it's in a post-apocalyptic world, so a lot of the world flooded and wars and stuff happened, and so corporations have control of the different nations, and they're fighting with each other, and you play as part of a special forces team. And there's actually a couple different characters in this that as you play through the game, you're able to change to be different characters that go through pairs, which is really cool. So depending on the character you choose from, you know, depends on their style and how you want to play the game, which is really cool. So I really enjoyed that. These so-called hollow children have infiltrated the human population, blurring the line between man and machine. Dan Marshall and the Rust Crew, so that's the main guy you play as, Dan Marshall, are tasked to find Amada at all costs. So Amada is the guy who actually created that corporation, and supposedly he's the guy who's behind the creation of these hollow guys. So you're trying to find the hollow children and find him and why he created them. Will their team's bond be their greatest strength, or will they fall to the machines and humanity begin? Earn your squad's trust and be rewarded in battle. Analyze each enemy type and efficiently dispose of them. Take the battle online with up to 10 players. So what's really cool is there's a variety of different machines that you fight. And you're able to, you always have a couple AI partners with you, and you're able to have them help you go through the story. Now, what's cool is they will sometimes give you suggestions as you're playing through the story, and like, hey, you should do this. I'll go to the left, you go to the right, and you could agree with them. They will also interact with you through dialogue, and your choices will make them trust you or not trust you. The more they trust you, the more they'll listen to your commands when you can give commands. Now, this game did have voice recognition. You could use the headset and say, go do this. For me, it just didn't really work out, so I didn't enjoy it. So I turned off that feature and just used the controller option where you could select the command you wanted to give to the characters. But it was really cool, though, based on their trust. So if they end up not trusting you by doing things that they don't like, they might not listen to you in the heat of battle. So it was a really cool little intricate system they had for you to interact with the AI in the game. And it was another one that I really enjoyed the story, and I look forward to beating Binary Domain again in the future because I had a lot of fun with the story. Highly recommend it. It is backwards compatible, so I played it on my Series X, got a boost to the visuals and graphics again. Next up, we have another Xbox 360 title. This is one that I had played off and on over the years, but I finally decided to focus on playing it all the way through and beating the story, and that is a game called Bound by Flame. This is a third-person action RPG. It is backwards compatible, so I played it on my Series X, so you get all the upgrades and boost of playing it on a modern console. And this was a really intricate game as you play as a hero who gets possessed by a demon, and he's able to unlock demon powers. However, you have to decide as you play through the game, am I going to go down the demon path and embrace the demon and what he wants, and kind of an evil choice, or do I want to keep my humanity, but it makes me not as strong without my demon powers to enhance me and keep your humanity? And that's where you have to choose. There's choices you make throughout the story, or you do the human path or you do the demon path. And so there's actually two different endings. Now, when I played and beat this, I did the human path, but I would like to eventually go through this again and do all the demon choices just to see the different outcome of it. There's a lot of main story stuff for you to go through. There's a lot of side stuff for you as well. I'll read a little from the back. So you are a mercenary possessed by a flame demon in the desperate world ravaged by 7 ice lords and their dead army. In this RPG where all your choices lead to consequences, you must choose between unleashing the powers of the beast within or rejecting the demonic influence that wants to claim your humanity. Freely develop your abilities and combat style through 3 skill trees, swing the heavy weapons of the fighter, wield the sneaky dual daggers of the ranger, or use the devastating flame spells of the pyromancer. You can recruit companions who will live, love, hate, and fight alongside you against the dreadful creatures of Verterial in real-time epic combat based on tactics and reaction. The bigger the danger, the greater the temptation to draw on the demon's power at the cost of your soul. Which way will you choose? So there's a lot of companions that you'll get, and depending on the path you choose, some will stay with you and some may leave you because, some characters like the demon, some don't like the demon, and so you actually get to change your companions based on your choices. And I had a lot of fun with this third-person action RPG, one I highly recommend. Also backwards compatible, amazing game. Definitely should check that one out. Next up, we got an old classic here that I've beat a couple different times over the years, but I decided I wanted to go through and beat the Marine campaign on this, and that was Aliens vs. Predator. Really awesome game. It has 3 different campaigns for you to play, where you can play as the alien, or you can play as the Predator, or the Marine, and all 3 of them play a little bit differently. Playing as the Marine is the most basic way to play the game because, you play through first-person shooter, which you're used to, but your enemies are fighting off aliens and predators. It has a really awesome story, takes place in the future, and I really enjoyed it. Now, to get the full experience, you do want to play through all 3 campaigns because they're all intertwined with each other, and certain things that happen in one you'll see through the perspective of the other, and it's definitely one that you want to be able to experience the full story. You want to go through and play all 3 campaigns. I just played the Marine one because I was going through getting all the collectibles. There's actually a couple that I missed, so I need to go back again and get them, and then I would like to, this next year, go again through the Alien and Predator campaigns again because I have not played them in a long time. But definitely recommend, if you guys love the older Aliens vs Predator games that were on the PC, highly recommend this Aliens vs Predator game. It was awesome. I have the collector's edition here that came with the steelbook. It is backwards compatible, so you get a boost to your performance and graphics and stuff. There was a really cool multiplayer mode on this that was really fun to play, but I don't know if anybody even plays it anymore. I highly doubt it, but definitely play this for the story. All three of them, you will not be disappointed. I had an absolute blast with Aliens vs Predator. Loveless game, and it's definitely one you can play through more than once. Really enjoyable. Next up here is a game that I have beat already, but I was starting to go through the DLC, and this is Mafia II, which I have. This Platinum Hits version has all the DLC. It has the 4 style packs, which gives you new clothes and weapons and cars, but there's the 3 story packs. And I was able to play through one of the 3. There's the Betrayal of Jimmy, Jimmy's Vendetta, and Joe's Adventures, which I finally beat Joe's Adventures. I still need to go through the other 2, so I'm hoping next year to go back to this and beat those 2 extra story DLCs, because I really enjoyed Mafia 2. It was a wonderful main story. And then these side stories take place during the game and then sometimes after, and gives you into perspective of other characters when you're not playing as the main character in Mafia 2, and I really enjoyed it. This is also backwards compatible on Xbox One and Series X, so again, you get a boost to the visuals and graphics, performance and everything, and I really had a lot of fun with Mafia 2. Highly recommend you guys play through the main story and then go through the DLCs. I recommend get this Platinum Hits version if you can find it, because it has all the DLC physically backed up on a second disc that you can then install into your console. So highly recommend getting this version so you get the complete Mafia 2 experience. And so I can't wait to go through and beat the last 2 story DLCs for this, because I've never got a chance to play them before, so looking forward to beating that. Next up for Xbox 360, here's another one that I've beat a couple different times, but it's one that I wanted to go back through and get the missing collectibles that I had in it, and that was Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Love the Transformers game. This is a third-person Transformer-like shooter game where you get to play through the story as the Autobots and Decepticons, and this goes into how Cybertron falls and why they eventually have to leave the Cybertron, and it goes to Earth where the TV show picks up. So this is a prequel to the TV shows and the movies and stuff, and you play through battle as the Autobots and the Decepticons, and it also talks about, like, you know, how Optimus Prime becomes Prime before he was just Optimus, you know. So it's really cool going through that story. Wonderful visuals, really awesome game. I really wish that this game was backwards compatible, because it was so amazing, but I had to play it on my 360. Highly recommend it. There have been rumors that they were talking about renewing the license and maybe releasing a port of this, or maybe getting the license to make it backwards compatible. I have heard rumors, you know, they could be just rumors, but it was a really enjoyable experience. So if you love Transformers games and you've never played it before, I highly recommend playing Transformers Fall of Cybertron. It is kind of expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you're a huge fan of Transformers. You know, you can transform into vehicle form. Some of them you're able to fly, you know, like the jets and stuff. And it's really cool because this is a prequel that sets up for the whole show and movies and stuff of Transformers. Definitely recommend Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Really awesome game. And another one here I played for the Xbox 360. It's another Transformers game. It goes with that one. That's Transformers War of Cybertron. So it's another one, you know, continuing the story of Cybertron and the war that goes on between the Autobots and the Decepticons. And again, you know, the campaign is split between the two. You play as the Autobots, you also get to play as the Decepticons, and it continues the story. So you definitely want to play through both of these games because it tells one epic story of how the game is. This one here, you can play the campaign as 3 and 3 player co-ops. You can switch between different Transformers in the group, and you also can choose which ones you want to take into the battle. So depending on how you choose might make the level more easy, might make it more difficult, but it goes into more depth with the story and stuff, and just a really awesome game. You know, another prequel about them battling on Cybertron before the war on Earth takes place, and I had a lot of fun with it. I really wish we would have got some more of these Transformers games based on Cybertron. I had a lot of fun with it, and it is an amazing third-person game. If you love Transformers, highly recommend it. Again, this is another one I had to play my 360 because it's not backwards compatible. It has been delisted, so the only way to play it is if you either own it or you have a physical version of it. It's another one that's gotten kind of pricey, but it's definitely definitely worth it. I recommend playing both of these Transformers games, Fall of Cybertron and War of Cybertron. Both are amazing titles. Alright, now we're moving on. Another one here, Xbox 360, that I have beat 3 times now. Twice back when it was first out, and then I beat it here this last year, as I wanted to go through and mop up and get Wolverine leveled up to unlock the final achievement that I was missing, and that is X-Men Origins Wolverine, but this is the Uncaged edition for Xbox 360. Amazing game. Now, I did want to let you guys know there's something strange about this game. Now, its save file is actually tied to your profile and not actually saved to the system. So anytime you log on to any Xbox 360 and you're online, you'll actually have your save file. It's tied to the profile, not to the console, which is very unique. I don't know why they chose to do that. So if you pick this up and play it on one 360 and then go and play it on a second Xbox 360, your save file will still be there. Now, this was an awesome game. A lot of people didn't really like the movie, which goes into the origins of Wolverine and how he gets his adamantium skeleton and going through his past. But this does an amazing job. It goes into even more detail than the movie does. It's an ultra-violent game, bloody. Wolverine cuts through guys, rips limbs off, blood is everywhere. And when he takes damage, you actually can see his adamantium skeleton underneath. So like if he gets shot with a shotgun, part of his face will blow off, and you'll see his skeleton underneath. You'll see his rib cage will be blown off. And what's really cool is since he has his healing factor, he will heal, and then you'll see his skin in real time will start healing. So let me say his arm, all the skin gets blown off and you just see his metal arm skeleton. Well, as you're healing, you'll see the skin heal on that, which is cool. There's also some different costumes that you can unlock. You can play as different Wolverines that are from the different years. Some are from comic stuff, from the movie and stuff, from the TV show. So you can actually unlock costumes to play through the game. And it just has a really good story, just really brutal and violent, and I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend the Uncaged version. Now, there was also a X-Men Origins Wolverine released on like the PS2, but it's a really toned down, like teen rated game. It's still good, but it's not as awesome as this one. It was really bloody and violent. Another one that I definitely recommend you guys check out. I had to play it on the 360 because it's not backwards compatible. Such a shame. I wish this one would have got backwards compatible. But it's one I highly recommend. If you love X-Men, you're a huge fan of Wolverine like I am, you've got to play this game if you never did. It's one of the best Marvel games and the best Wolverine game that I've ever played, and probably the best one we'll ever receive. I don't know if we'll ever receive another good Wolverine game in the future. Who knows? Maybe we can. But it's really good. And also, Hugh Jackman does the voice of Wolverine, which is awesome. So, highly recommend X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition. Great game. Here's another one that I had beat years ago, but I had just wanted to play it again and went through and beat the story. Had a lot of fun, and that is John Woo Presents Stranglehold, which this is a cool game. Plays similar to like the Max Payne, where you're able to slow down time. You're able to jump on to different objects and use them to your advantage. Like, what's cool is there's like a little cart that like waiters use. You're able to jump on that and it slows down time. You're able to shoot enemies. There's also able to interact with the environment. We're able to like shoot signs down to kill enemies and stuff. And I first had played the demo of this game. I played it a bunch and it made me fall in love with the game, that I eventually went out and bought a copy when it came out, and I had a lot of fun with this. I got this collector's edition because it has a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff with Stranglehold and music and things like that, and I really enjoyed it. So if you like games like Max Payne and you'd watch the Hard-Boiled movie with Chow Yun-Fat, this game is like a sequel to that, and it's really awesome, really bloody and violent and just a lot of action, and it's really good story that you get to go through, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. I loved it. So if you like third-person shooters, it's another one you definitely need to check out and play. Unfortunately, it's not backwards compatible, so I had to play it on my 360, but it was a very enjoyable experience. It was fun going through and beating it again. It's another one that I will revisit again in the future and play and beat again because I just loved the story that much. It just was a really fun time, so another one I recommend. Next up, we're moving to another third-person action RPG. It's one that I started and played a couple different times on my own, and then I played with a buddy, and then this time I decided to start it all over again and beat it from the beginning to the end, and that was Dungeon Siege 3, which I had a lot of fun with this. There's 4 different characters you can play as. There's Lucas, there's Angelani, there's Reinhardt, and Katrina, and you play as one character, and then the other characters you can pick as one of the AI controls. Once you pick a character, though, you're stuck with that character's choice. I chose a guy who has like mage powers because I love mages in these kind of games, and I really had a lot of fun going through the story and seeing from the beginning to the end. And this is definitely another one that I could see myself beating with different characters because they do play a little bit differently, and you get to go through their story. And I had an absolute blast with it. So if you like third-person action RPGs like I do, highly recommend Dungeon Siege 3. Now, this is backwards compatible on Series X and Xbox One, so you get all the benefits of playing it on modern consoles, which I did play it on there. Had a lot of fun with it. Highly recommend Dungeon Siege 3. It was a wonderful experience. Next up here, another one that I had played multiple times but never beat. This year I finally beat it, and I'm so glad I got to experience it, and that was Lost Planet Extreme Condition. This is the collector's edition, which has some extra bonus stuff, like you get music CD, and you get a steel book, an art book, and stuff. I had a lot of fun with this game. It's really awesome. This is another one of those games that I played the demo before it came out, fell in love with it, and eventually bought a copy, but I never got around to beating it. So this time I decided I wanted to beat it and play the story. So I'll read you guys the back. So remember the past to fight the future. You were left for dead on the ice-covered wastelands of EDN3. You awaken with only fragments of your memory. You must find your past, fight off your enemies, and battle the elements to survive. All that can be trusted is your instincts as a soldier. So what's cool is this takes place on a alien world called EDN3. Humans are there harvesting this T energy that these acrid creatures in the planet have, and you need that energy to keep you from freezing to death in the frigid world. And it just goes through dealing with you playing as a snow pirate. There's these giant mech vehicles that you're able to control, and you fight off different people as well as fighting off the creatures. And it was a really enjoyable experience, and you get to have boss battles and stuff, and I really had a lot of fun playing through the beginning all the way to the end of the story, and it was really enjoyable. It is backwards compatible on the Xbox One and Series X, so again, you get a boost to the performance on there. But I had a lot of fun with Lost Planet. Highly recommend you guys play through this series. It's an amazing game, and I had a lot of fun with this one. So after I played the first one, I decided, hey, I played this second one but never beat it, and I want to go through and beat this one, and that was Lost Planet 2, the sequel to Lost Planet 1. Now, this one deals with a tropical environment, takes place after the original Lost Planet 1, but you don't play as just one kind of character. You play as a variety of different factions and teams that are still on EDN3 and trying to take control of the planet and its T energy source and stuff. And all the stories are intertwined, and it all comes to a final climax at the end. It's also 4-player co-op, so when you play through the game, you have 3 AI companions with you, which is really cool. And you have the different mech vehicles, and you have all the different abilities that the different characters have. There's huge boss battles too, which I really love. They really up the battles from the first Lost Planet here to Lost Planet 2. You also can play, if you beat the game, you can unlock playing as Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago from Gears of War. There's also like Albert Wesker. There's other characters that you can play through as in this game. They just basically a skin over the character you're playing as, but it's really cool. You can play as Marcus or Dom in Lost Planet 2. I thought that was a really cool little Easter egg that they have in Lost Planet 2, and I went through and beat this game. Really enjoyed the story. Definitely another one I would love to replay again through because I really enjoyed the story that much. And it'd be kind of cool to play this co-op. So I might play it sometime with my brother. It was a really good game. Then next up, I got my most anticipated game that I had wanted all year. I had been waiting for this game ever since they announced it. I pre-ordered the best version you can get, which sold out fast. Well, I guess there was technically a big collector's edition, but that was way too much money. That was $250. This was only $100, but I also had some of my points I was able to use, and then you get the monthly $5 coupon, so I was able to bring it down a bit. And that was Warhammer 40,002 Space Marine, and this was the gold edition. This continues. He was playing as Titus, and it's just amazing. It continues the story from Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 1, taking place on multiple planets where the Tyranids, these creatures, which they kind of don't really show any on there, but playing with the Ultramarines, it was a really awesome experience going through the story. Now what's cool is there's also this operations mode, because there's 3 modes in this game. There's the campaign that you can play through, which you can play co-op with 2 other people, 3-player co-op. Then there's also these operations modes, which basically you play as different Space Marines that take place during the campaign and sometimes after. And they actually have free DLC that they're releasing for this through next year, where they're going to add new operations modes for you to play through. And I really enjoyed the story. Absolutely loved it from the start to the finish. I just couldn't put the game down. I played it over the span of a couple weeks, a few hours every day. Really enjoyed the story. It's another one I can't wait to go through and beat. If you love the first one, you'll love the second one. They really update the visuals, the graphics, the bloody combat in this. It just was really awesome. The deep lore of the Warhammer universe is in this. A lot of cool little Easter eggs and just random things for you to see. Of course, there's the huge multiplayer if you guys are into fighting the Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines and stuff. I'm not really into the multiplayer, but I did play a few operations mode, which is a co-op mode. But you can play with bots if you want to. And they're releasing updates and patches for this all the time. So they're tweaking stuff and fixing issues, because there were a few bugs and stuff in the game that they've been working on. So periodically this does get updates. And like I said, the DLC is free, so you don't have to buy this gold edition if you don't want to for the DLC. It's just for cosmetic stuff. I wanted to help support the devs because they made a game I love. And I also wanted to get this amazing steelbook that they included with this version. So that was one of the main reasons why I bought this gold edition. One I absolutely loved, and definitely my game of the year for 2024 was Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Awesome game, and I'm hoping that maybe they've talked about hinting that maybe they might release in the future some campaign DLC for that. It would be really awesome, and I do hope that eventually we'll get a Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 3. That would be really awesome. Really love that game. Highly recommend it. Next up is another title that I've had for a long time. I owned it digitally because I got it for free thanks to my Games with Gold subscription from having Xbox Live Gold for the years, but I never played it until this year, as I had been recommended by a couple people, and that was called Outcast Second Contact. Now, I wanted to get a physical copy, so I had to buy a copy from Europe. And the nice thing about modern consoles is they're region free, so you can just pop this in and instantly play it. Now, I had bought a brand new copy that was sealed, but I unwrapped this to pop the disc in, and then I found out that I actually owned a digital copy from the Xbox Live with Gold, which I didn't even realize I owned it. I just, accepted every month and be like, okay, yeah, accept that that's free, but I didn't always download, and I did not download it. But I had a lot of fun with this. This is like one of the first giant open world third-person action RPGs. I had a lot of fun with it. 2 worlds, 1 destiny. Humanity has discovered that it's not alone. Unfortunately, the first contact with intelligent beings has taken a disastrous turn. You are Cutter Slade, a special forces soldier sent to the planet Adelpha on a last-ditch mission. It's a cult classic, a living planet, epic battles, a fantastic adventure. So this used to be a PC game that they then ported to modern consoles, and it was really awesome. There's actually a sequel to this that just came out that I'm looking forward to playing through next year, because I really enjoyed this one. So it deals with this evil force that is taken over the planet and enslaved the population, and so you're going here to help free them from this evil force. And it has a really fun story, really awesome. You get to use different guns and stuff. Now the voice acting is fun, but obviously, you know, we were talking about an old game that they just re-released with some updated visuals, so there are going to be some dated stuff in the game, but I had a lot of fun with it. There's a main story to go through, there's some side missions and stuff for you to go through as well, but I really enjoyed my time with Outcast Second Contact. Highly recommend this one. Now if you want to get it physically though, you're going to have to import a physical copy from PAL region from Europe, because in America we only got it digitally, we never got it physically, but I wanted to have a physical copy, so that's why I imported a copy. And like I said, since it's region free, you can easily import a copy to add to your collection. Just make sure though that you get an English copy, because there are French copies and Spanish copies and stuff like that. So if you want to make sure that you get an English copy so you have that. But really enjoyed my time with that. It was an awesome game. Then next up, we finally completed a trilogy here. One that I had played a little bit, never beat though, was Lost Planet 3. Now this is a prequel to all the Lost Planet games, and I had a lot of fun with this game. So I'll read you from the back. Survival is not enough. As a new arrival to the foreboding alien planet of EDN-3, you must fight for your family, your colony, and your dignity as the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. Go beyond survival. Intense cinematic experience. Return to extreme conditions. There was also multiplayer with 10 people, and then there was visceral shooter gameplay on foot and mechanized mayhem in the utility rig, and you play as Jim. And what's cool is this planet is just in the early stages of man landing on it and trying to terraform it, take it over, because Earth is running out of resources, and so humans are having to go out into space and find planets to harvest energy to bring back to Earth's population. And so that's where you take place as Jim here, and you play as just one character. It reminds me a lot of the visual style and the way it plays through fighting the Acrid, kind of like Dead Space, where it feels kind of some horror elements. You know, the Acrid feel more alien and scarier in this, and you play through a story as Jim, and he has this big mech vehicle, but it doesn't have any weapons, because at this time the government doesn't feel like that the vehicle should have weapons on it, and so you actually have to fight improvise weapons with your mech sometimes. Like, he has an arm that he's able to grab things with. He has a little hook weapon. He's able to a grappling hook that he's able to shoot out, and then he's able to use that to get to places. He also has a flame weapon that you're able to unlock eventually, so you can burn enemies away and stuff. But it's really cool as you play through on foot. You have your different guns you're able to use to fight off humans and fight off the acrid creatures. But then you also have the mech that you're able to use, and you're able to solve puzzles and stuff, because it's basically like a working vehicle. You know, he's like a average everyman. His wife and child are at home on the Earth, and he's able to contact them. There's also music that you can play when you're walking around the world with the vehicle at times, which is cool. But I really had fun. Amazing story for this. Highly recommend you play through Lost Planet 3. Definitely would play through Lost Planet 3 first, because it's a prequel, then play through Lost Planet 1 and 2. So all three Lost Planet games were amazing this year, and I'm really glad that I was able to play and beat them. Had a lot of fun with them. Highly recommend all of them. They are great. Now we're getting to the last couple here. This next one here is one that I had picked up from Gamefly. Had a lot of fun with it, and that was System Shock. I'm glad to finally play. This is a remake of the old 94 PC game where they remastered the game. There was some issues with it where they wanted to completely change the game, and it went through some different developmental issues, but eventually they settled on just remaking the game, adding some elements to it. It's a first-person shooter, so it has that retro style, and it takes place in the future where you have this AI Shodan. Well, your character at the very beginning of the game is a hacker, and he's hacking into this corporation which captures him, and instead of pressing charges, this Diego guy gives you a proposition. He says, you help hack the Shodan AI for me, and I will give you this neural interface that you wanted to steal from us. And so you agree to that, you hack Shodan, and you get your neural interface, and then you get put in like stasis, and you're on this station, and Shodan is the one that runs it. Well, you find out that your character actually deleted her ethical subroutines, and so she turns evil, turns all the machines against the humans on the space station, starts killing them off. She even augments some of them and turns them into cyborgs, which some kind of remind me of the Borg, the way they look. I'm sure that the creators got inspiration for them from Star Trek Next Generation with the Borg, and it's just really awesome. You go through a story, and there's choices for you to make. There's a main thing for you to go through. There's side stuff for you. Night Dive Studios are behind the remake of this, and you actually can find 10 of their secret Night Dive skulls that are in the game. And you're able to augment yourself as you play through the game. You can level up and upgrade your weapons. You can also upgrade yourself with new abilities, since you are taking place, in a cyberpunk world. So you're able to enhance yourself with different things that you find, like make yourself stronger, have shields. You can make yourself fly with these boots. And as you play through the story, you get stuff unlocked. And it was a really fun story. I really enjoyed it going through from the very beginning to end. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. Highly recommend this one. If you like first-person shooters, I highly recommend System Shock. It was an amazing game and story, and another one I could definitely see myself playing in the future. And now we're going to share our final game, and it's one that I just beat here at the end of the year. Had a lot of fun with it. Took over 30 hours, but that was the game called Chorus, which this is an awesome ship game where it takes place in space, so space combat. So if you played games like Star Wars Starfighter, Rogue Squadron and stuff, it's like that. It takes place in space. You play as two characters. You play as Nara, and you play as her ship Forsaken, which he goes by Forza. And she's not just a normal human, she's a special person that's able to tap into this void, which kind of like having the Force from Star Wars, or the warp from the Warhammer universe, you're able to tap into powers, and she's able to do things that normal humans cannot. And she works originally for this group called the Circle, and their leader is the Prophet. And he starts out as a good dude that wants to do things for humanity, but eventually he becomes corrupted and evil, and wants to kill off a lot of people, and you're with him, and you end up destroying a planet in the very beginning, killing billions of lives, and it really just shatters you, and you end up breaking off from the Circle, and you actually break yourself off from your rights, these powers that she has, and she tries to separate herself from it, but her past comes haunting back. The Circle is taking over the universe, and so you join up with the Resistance, and you have to come face to face with who you are, what you did as a member of the Circle, and the lives you ruin, and you have to come to terms with that. And because of that, you have to get stronger, so you have to reconnect to your powers that you had when you were working for the Circle to go against the Circle. And that's where the whole story takes place. And it's cool because you also have your ship, which is Forsaken, which is a sentient being that is attached to the ship. It's not just simply a ship, he's actually a being. And as you play through the story, they explain more of who Forsaken is. He goes by Forza for short, but him and Nara are basically very compatible with each other, and the two of them combined to be together basically come as one, and they enhance each other. And it was just a really enjoyable experience. Had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, it took me about 30 hours to play through. I did all the story missions. I maxed out all my upgrades, because you can upgrade the Forza ship, but you also can upgrade Nara and her abilities. And I've got all the achievements except for 2. Now, what's cool is when you beat the game, it creates this checkpoint for you right before the final mission of no return, so you can go through and keep upgrading and get the last of the achievements. So I eventually will replay this game again in the future to unlock all those achievements. But I had a lot of fun with it, and it was awesome. So there you guys go. I'm going to hold up here, all 24 games, a huge year of Xbox. I had a lot of fun playing those games. If you guys want to see any of them in more detail, want to see gameplay footage of it, be sure to check out one of my episodes in my weekly gaming playlist series. You guys can easily see by the thumbnail what game is on what episode. I go into more detail than I did in this video, but I did want to just do a little review of the games I had played this year in 2024. Like I said, my big goal since 2019 has been to play and enjoy more games in my collection, and I played a lot of them. You know, this was the year of Xbox, and so in 2025, I'm hoping to play some other games for other consoles that aren't just Xbox. I mean, I do still have a bunch of Xbox games I like to play, but I would like to play some games for PlayStation and Nintendo consoles as well. So be on the lookout here as we'll be continuing that series. I've really had a lot of fun. Really enjoyed hearing from you guys for that series. It's been great getting recommendations of games to play, and it's been really good hearing about games you guys are playing, as it has given me ideas of new games to play and experience. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all your support. Take care. You guys have an amazing day. Sleepy, we'll see you next time.